10 largest crowd in human history. Alene pilgrimage. One important event that is celebrated in the Shia Muslim cultures is the annual public gathering of Alene pilgrimage in Karbala, Iraq. This religious ritual commemorated the end of the 40-day mourning period of Imam Hussein, or as most know him as Prophet Muhammad's grandson. The number of pilgrims increases every year, and in 2016 a record 25 million people was made during this month-long period of mourning. Iraq cities, towns and villages are all emptied out to aid and organize the roads ahead of the walk during one of the most populated religious walks. Flags of 4 different colors can be seen: black, green, red and white flags dominate all across the roads. While black flags still remain by far the most common, as it represents the mourning of Imam Hussein. Food, water and transport were readily available for the participants all over the city. The pilgrimage is made of long walks across 3 cities, and people from all different walks of life participate in the spiritual ritual and mourning. Tour de France. Everyone has heard of Tour de France at least once in their life. This annual bicycle race that predominantly takes place in France has been followed by people for more than a century, dating back to 1900. This 3-week-long 4-digits bicycle race comprises 20 professional teams of 9 riders, all aiming to finish first in the 2,235-mile or 3,600-kilometer long race. As one of the world's most prestigious sporting events, it comes as no surprise that millions of people all over Europe want to participate and be part of history. In 2012, over 12 million people attend to the Week 3 of Tour de France, making it the largest attendance for a sporting event in history. This infamous bicycle race is held not only in France, but sometimes it makes its way down to its European domination, makes it easier for citizens of different backgrounds to join in and stand roadside in support of the athletes. Olympic Games 1996. Coming close to the Tour de France is another sport-dominated event that takes place every 4 years in cities all across the globe. The Olympic Games originated in ancient Greece, and as a celebration of athletic excellence in all fields of sport and physical activity, with over 200 nations participating, the Games are considered to be the world's foremost sports competition. And it's appropriate that the crowd size complements the magnitude of the events, while millions have traveled from all walks of life to bear witness to the extraordinary gold, silver and bronze medalists. One particular Olympic Games stood out in all its glory and made history in 1996, held in Atlanta, Georgia. The so-called Centennial Olympics sold a jaw-dropping 8.3 million tickets in just a few weeks. The 1996 Olympics were so special that over 8 million people wanted to attend it because of Michael Johnson. This world-famous sprinter made history and became the first man ever in the history of the Olympic Games to run and win both the 200-meter and 400-meter race. Not only did he become the first man to do so, but his 200-meter run also established a new record with just 19.32 seconds to the finish line. CN honored a funeral. While many people pay respects to the departed one, his funeral made headlines all across the globe, and it even made its way to the Guinness World Records. In February of 1969, India's beloved politician and writer Kanjivaram Natarajan or C.N. Onnadurai passed away from oral disease. 15 million people gathered to mourn and pay respects to their idol, and their homage broke the record for the largest funeral in history. Millions made their way to Madras, the capital city of the Indian state Tamil Nadu, where C.N. Onnadurai was once the chief minister. 3 special trains ferried thousands across the country, and with overwhelming attendance. Many visitors were left on the streets, most hotels were overbooked or closed, and some mourners even spent days famished without any ounce of food at their will. 2017 Women's March. In 2017, women all across the United States joined forces to support gender equality and civil rights while also protesting President Donald Trump's inauguration and presidency. Women of all ages walk side by side in major U.S. cities such as Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago, while also creating sister marches all across the world, estimated to have over 5.6 million protesters. These marches include many familiar faces and celebrities who use their platforms to shine light on bigger issues. Actresses, performers, musicians and influencers took to the stages and podiums to voice their concern about the current state of the country and how hate had dominated love and respect. The march is widely known as an anti-Trump protest, and while the main focus was on women empowerment, many signs and protesters displayed the hatred towards the sexist President of the United States. This 2017 Women's March is now regarded as the most famous women's march in history, with the largest crowd turnout in history. Chicago Cubs Parade 2016. After a stagnant 108 years without a reason to celebrate, the Chicago Cubs finally won the World Series in 2016. This World Series championship was particularly anticipated as both teams had long streaks without any wins. After 7 games and built-up energy and patience, the Chicago Cubs finally got their monumental win and victory, which resulted in a statewide celebration. A little over 5 million fans and supporters gathered outside Wrigley Field to take in the victory in all its glory. Now the celebration is cited as the 7th largest celebratory parade in the world, making it one of the largest human gatherings in history. Pope Francis in the Philippines. Over 6 million people of Manila, the capital of the Philippines, gathered around to hear Pope Francis's Mass, making it one of the largest air mass gatherings in history. In 2015, Pope Francis embarked on his 2-nation tour, which was aimed at adding momentum to the growing Catholic religion in Asia. From his trip to Sri Lanka, he flew to Manila, where he spent the last 5 days of his tour with over 80 million Catholics in the Philippines. The Pope was met with open arms and warmth all around the nation. The heavy rain and increased security measures on the day of the Mass could not stop the 6 million supporters who came and heard the Mass live and saw the Pope live in person. The Pope, whose main goal was to focus on helping others, loving each other and protecting the environment, but this 2015 visit wasn't the only time a Pope graced the Philippines. In 1995, Pope John Paul II was the first to hold a live Mass in the capital of Manila, and just like the most recent event, over 5 million people gathered for the papal service. World Youth Day 1995. As mentioned before, Pope John Paul II attended the Catholic Youth Festival in 1995 that is now remembered as the World Youth Day 1995. This 5-day-long festival was held in Manila, the capital of the Philippines, and had over 5 million people in attendance. The Philippines was the first Asian country to host the World Youth Day and was held from January 10th to the 15th. Many young pilgrims from many different parts of the world gathered to celebrate the Catholic religion and get a glimpse of Pope John Paul II in action. Before the closing mass, which was held on January 15th, made worldwide headlines by the number of participants who joined the World Youth Day. World Pride in New York City. New York City is one of the world's capitals of acceptance and pride. As one of the most eccentric and electrifying cities on the globe, the streets of the Big Apple are always filled with people of all ages, races, different backgrounds and sexual orientations. In June 2019, New York City made it into the Guinness World Records as the world's largest pride parade with nearly 5 million people on the streets of Manhattan. Members of the LGBTQ+ community celebrated in dignity and joy as their pride dominated every corner of the megapolis. Known as the Stonewall 50 World Pride, in New York City these series of pride events marked the 50th anniversary of the 1969 Stonewall riots. The pride stood against police brutality against members of the LGBTQ+ community. The number of marchers has only been increasing ever since the annual parade. Queen Elizabeth II Coronation. Queen Elizabeth II has been the monarch of the United Kingdom for more than 65 years. As the longest reigning monarch in the UK's history, Queen Elizabeth is no stranger to large crowds and gatherings, all in support of her ruling and dedication to her nation. But the largest attendance revolving around the Queen was during her Coronation Day in 1953 on 2nd June. Over 3 million Brits stood on the streets of London to celebrate this monumental coronation of the second Elizabeth monarch in the nation's history. Over 10 million people tuned in from their homes and witnessed the celebration. BBC Television provided coverage of the event from the cameras which were installed inside Westminster Abbey, making history by showing the coronation service for the first time.